Reading is probably the most often unintended construct in many assessments, math being one example. Very often, math, you find students who have reading difficulties will have a difficult time doing math tests because math tests so often rely on reading. They put all these words in there instead of just give them the equation, let them do it. Or ask them verbally, what this concept is. Don't make it a test of reading. Very often that's what happens. That's why you have to kind of look closely at standardized math scores, because it could, especially with students with disabilities, a reading disability, it could have been a measure of their reading. That's an important point to remember. While read-aloud accommodations have been repeatedly shown to improve test performance of students with reading disabilities, there are some serious issues with its use. There are 3 significant ways in which human read-aloud accommodations fails to provide adequate supports for students potentially compromises that test validity. Number 1, human read-alouds vary in quality. Some readers may mispronounce or misread words. Very common. Students are reluctant to, or may be unable to, ask human readers to reread test portions, or they may be unable to. And through intonation or non-scripted comments, human readers may inadvertently influence students' attentions or response. It's not a very consistent way of doing things. The pace of human read-alouds, including video and audio tape versions, also impose upon students a linear path and a set pace, the latter of which has been shown to negatively affect test performance of students with disabilities. You're putting it at the reader's pace. Okay, you need to do it at the student's pace, the one who wants to hear this. Technology can help make tests more universally designed. Here are some answers. Unlike a human read-aloud, a text-to-speech read-aloud provides students with consistent readings free of potentially directive or misleading in intonation. Consistent with UD principles, a text-to-speech read-aloud supports students' diverse ways of recognizing, strategically interacting, and engaging with an assessment by offering an individualized, independent, and self-paced modal access to content on demand. They have more control over things. They can do it the way they need to do it. Everyone's individual. We all are. If we listen to things, we're going to listen to them differently. Well, this allows students to pace things at their own level. Digital text and accompanying universally designed curriculum and assessment can bring down barriers to learning for all students, not just students with disabilities. Technology-based accommodations have tremendous potential to improve the accessibility of tests for students with disabilities, just for these kinds of reasons. It's things that they have more control over and can put into an environment where you rule out those extraneous things, and it allows students to actually show what they know, which is what you want. Computer-based testing is a good medium for universally designed assessments because it allows for those built-in features such as speech-to-text, electronic reading supports, and alternative access devices. These devices reduce the need for accommodations and assistive technology devices during assessments. They can reduce accommodations. That's what we'd like to see. We'd like to see things accessible at the beginning. Accommodations are kind of a back-end approach. Study on the effectiveness of screen readers and assessments found that screen readers help students with reading difficulties achieve better test scores in content areas. That's what you want. You want to assess what they know. I think that's kind of important, not how they read. The mode of expression. This is one of my favorite studies. This tells you a lot about our students today. That was very different than what I was like when I was a student. The mode of expression has strong effects on students without disabilities. A set of studies at Boston College investigated the role of the different modes of expression, handwriting versus keyboarding, on the standardized test scores of general education students. Results indicate that student scores were affected by the mode of responding. That is, students who had experience on computers got much higher scores on the same test than if they responded with computer than with handwriting. That says a lot. I tend to want to get everything off the computer to do it. If I want to read something, I like to get it off the computer. I want it on paper. I want to write stuff out before I type it or something like that. You look at students today, and that is not the case. They do things differently. They are keyboarders. That's the way they've learned. It's been their life. And, we need to think about that when we're devising exams. Here's 7 elements for universally designed assessments. I'm going to go through these real quickly because they're on your handouts. Inclusive assessment population. Make sure you think about who's being assessed here. Precisely define your constructs. In other words, know what it is you're assessing. Accessible, non-biased items. It shouldn't potentially advantage or disadvantage anyone. Amenable to accommodations. Make your assessments so that they can be accommodated. Some students are going to need accommodations no matter what. Simple, clear, and intuitive instructions. Make sure your instructions are clear so that there's no doubt what it is you're asking here. Maximum readability and comprehensibility. Assessments should be a test of student knowledge, not their reading abilities or comprehension level. Maximum legibility. Assessments should be able to be deciphered with ease. They shouldn't have trouble looking and understanding what's going on. Those are from the National Center for Educational Outcomes.